What are we talking about? The president's score sheet. I say good afternoon, Larry Fadansi. How are you today?
Good afternoon. It's a beautiful day. Thank you for having me.
Dr. Yinkanjus, good afternoon.
Fine afternoon, and thanks for having me.
Femi Adesina, your schoolmate and friend, Larry Fadansi, and the special advisor to the president on media and publicity. He said the situation, especially insecurity in Nigeria, would have worsened without the president's input. But given the country's trajectory of insecurity, would it be fair to say the president delivered on his campaign promise, especially as far as insecurity is concerned? Let's begin to pick it one by one. Larry.
Yes, I'm glad we are here now, because everything has a beginning, must have an end. And when it's coming to that end, the penultimate period is to do a reassessment of activities of those who are involved in that government.
Exactly.
And if you want to solve the problem of insecurity, like we all know, we look at what have you done about the security apparatus that you're going to deploy for those services.
Okay.
And that's the starting point. It was with Buhari administration that we saw the most unusual things happen. First, when they had to choose his Inspector General of Police, they had to let go of about 33 senior officers so that a police commissioner could become an IGP. And from that point on, professionalism took a new turn. It had to genuflect towards somewhat, some people call it nepotism, some people call it patronage of people based on whatever. I don't know the indices. It could be ethnic, it could be coming from the same party or whatever. But those who are professionals are not supposed to be involved. So you begin to wonder, when General Buhari told that particular IGP to go into a state and relocate there so that it could end insecurity, and nothing happened. The man did not go there. You understand? So these are some of the things that will tell you the results you will find. When you do things differently, you get different results from what is expected. And that's the first point as far as that insecurity was concerned. You see, I just looked at it. I mean, go to become a Comptroller General from being a Deputy Comptroller General of Customs. And suddenly a colonel in the army, for the first time in the history of Nigeria, was made to head the customs. So you now begin to see, if you do unusual things, you will and should expect unusual results. Those are some of the things that from the beginning of the administration about 8 years ago, it took some steps that created intrigues, but at the end of the day, when you now ask the question, have you been served in terms of delivery of security services, you lose it. At the point of choosing an army chief, it's supposed to be if the person on seat is going, because we are not supposed to be part of politics.
No, it shouldn't be.
Then be a very senior high cadre officer become the top. So all of this add up to tell people what we ought to have expected to happen. And suddenly you see state operators taking preemption. They are refined officers and gentlemen. They are refined officers and gentlemen, but the commander-in-chief is the one that determines how he wants to use them.
That's correct. For economic policies or the government's inability to manage the economy?
I'll call it inability to manage the economy. You see, this
I was expecting that. Okay.
They give us promises. You see, when I learned I was going to speak about this, I Googled. If I had to stop writing, I Googled to see what's the KPI of this government. In fact, KPE. KPI is key performance indicators. But key performance expectations met. You cannot believe it. It started with Electoral Act amendment. Okay, sorry, let me start from where Larry stopped. He said he jettisoned some top officers and picked number 10 or so. In politics, there's nothing wrong with that. What the people will have wanted this result. If he did that and he performed, nobody will remember whether he said to say that act on itself is not wrong. If, mark my word, if the result.
Personal with you on that.
Okay.
let us presuppose you were the Deputy Inspector General of Police and you were expected. How would you feel?
Wait, let me land. You see, it is not my choice.
All right.
It's his choice.
All right.
So whether it now works for him or not, the people will have to now judge.
Okay.
So it's not my
Larry.
choice.
What I want to rain in on this is this. Now the greatest destruction to the Nigerian system is when you wrestle the nest of institutions.
Exactly.
Institutions are supposed to be institutions. You become a major general and then a lieutenant general. You don't just jump from being a major general to become a field marshal.
Or a brigadier to a lieutenant general.
So these are structured systems that are supposed to run the system. If it were to be possible for Donald Trump to change some of these things in America, he would have done it. Because he was thinking the African way of I'm an overlord. And look at that system. What Trump would have done with that election that he lost is vice president, because the system of America says, Mr. Vice President, when it comes to this situation, this is your role, institution. So when you now change the structure of what institutions are supposed to do, you have destroyed that system.
Exactly.
That is what has happened. That is not, let me tell you, the army is the fact that he became commander-in-chief the day he becomes head